Hi there. There's quite an important news item publicized yesterday, and that is that the Pentagon expect oil to be uh, not sufficient by about 10 million barrels a day in 2015, 1-5. And that they expect there to be massive ramifications, economical and societal and political, of that. You know, that's a different scenario from the quiz at the Copenhagen summit, where they asked you how long do you think oil supply will continue, 40, 60 or 100 years. 40, 60 or 100 years, and 5 years ahead you'll see a serious impact on and a serious shortage of oil in the United States. You know, that might have to do with the fact that they can't afford it anymore, because the dollar is no longer pinned to oil, really. No, that kind of story. But it is just shocking, and my message is that it's an evolutionary step towards alternative energy. It's just the final step in the evolution of learning as human beings with lots of, inanimate stuff around us, houses, buildings, factories, trucks. All these things don't live. They don't grow themselves. They don't renew themselves. To make them renewable, because then we're back to the position for which humans have evolved, which is to live in an environment which is completely renewable, a forest or some natural environment. I believe that humans were never meant to protect their environment. We're simply there to live and survive, and that's it, and everybody else has to fend for themselves. I think that that's basically what we got evolved mentally into. We maybe if we are from a long line of farmers or generation, then we might see that we can generate food ourselves, and that might have there might be some intuition there, just like we have language abilities. But the longest time in history we have not been able to have a reliable partner in nature. On the other hand, we have, of course, because it was always there, and we could always cut down a tree or eat an apple or anything that lives. We were eating everything. In Liberia, you can find any number of cannibals, according to one of the reports, because in the fighting there in the recent years, it was habitual to sacrifice people before and eat your enemies after. So that's where humans are. Humans are we have been evolved to not care about the environment, because the environment is supposed to renew itself. Now with alternative energies you have so much energy you can make available, that you can make the environment renew itself, either automatically or through some intervention. Because recycling with alternative energy, which is virtually free, is not a problem anymore. Because the most activities in the modern economy are limited by their requirement for energy, and then you say, well, yes, really, because even if it's not the process itself that requires a lot of energy, it's usually the transportation towards the process and the organization around it, and the fact that the people that try to do that have to make money in order to earn other stuff that is expensive because of the energy requirement. So whole society is organized around energy, and if you create alternative energy in abundance, which is possible, then you suddenly get a society which is completely different, which has a completely different economic model, which is not there just there's one string that's pulling all the time, which is how much energy does it cost, do we have the oil locally, and etc. That will disappear. And what you get then is a society where you can completely recycle everything, because there's plenty of energy to do that, which means that you basically can stop mining for most stuff, that you can transport everything anywhere, at virtually no cost, that you can travel anywhere at virtually no cost, that you, and of course we're also having this information technology that is almost, it's going to be, we're going to see real artificial intelligence with these memristors and these new super low voltage nanowatt technologies. But that will also mean that we might not want to or have to travel, or we might not want to or have to work on something because we have the machines doing that for us. So what happens if you put a terraforming pack of robots on the coast of Africa where it's complete desert, and you have them built just like they would be on Mars, build a desalination plant, build irrigation system, over a period of years, and completely green the desert, which is possible with alternative energy. So alternative energy plus robots equals a very, very, very nice world in the end, where you can even kind of you can do everything with it. And it is telling that, while everybody is worrying about the price of oil, don't worry about the price of oil, worry about the fact that your community or your municipality or your city or your council is not extremely aggressive about getting alternative energy in place and getting the infrastructure in place to use it. Solar thermal energy, electricity in engines and motors, which is very efficient. That should be priority number one, because it creates so much wealth once you have that. Let's say once you have a city where nobody has to pay for heating their homes. That's a very hospitable city. A city where nobody has to pay for public transportation. Where you have a marginal cost, let's say. Maybe it's not free, but the cost is marginal. It's only maintenance that's important, and that maintenance is of course machines doing the maintenance and humans doing the maintenance, and that doesn't require any energy anymore because you have solar panels on the roof of the maintenance factory, just to kind of be very easy about giving an example. And all that is now still fought by a group of industries that want to organize society so that there is a dependence on them, which is the banks, energy companies, oil companies. Because they like it that way, because they get lots of money that way, because then they can afford all this wealth that they have, which they appreciate. But that's not important. If you step forward 100 years from now, it will not be a problem to go to Malibu for anybody, because we will be growing seaweed around the sea en masse to make fuel for airliners, for airplanes. And that will be very cost effective, because it will be done, I think, mostly by machines. Which might, it's a circular reasoning, which in the end basically means that our environment, our artificial environment, will become as renewable as nature, so we will no longer have to destroy it. And we, as humans, will be completely fostered by that artificial environment, just like we have been fostered by the natural environment before. The key to that is providing our artificial environment, our machines and stuff like that, with renewable energy. And then they basically start to, you could also almost say they start to live, because all this, the weather sensor systems and all the systems that control, maybe not now but in the future, make sure that all these artificial environments are controlled optimally for our needs, will work automatically without cost. And so that's what I have to say about oil shortages in 2015. Tell everybody that, and get very aggressive about alternative energy, because the sooner you are there, the longer you get to enjoy that world.